be asking like,
give me the one. Give me the one. I like that. It's better than nothing. Yes. What's going on?
Go ahead, man.
Oh, we're doing it now. We'll start with it. You know what? You know what we should even do? I'm gonna give one more. Not just that one. I'm gonna give one of these too. Oh, it's a party, baby. It's a party.
I'm practicing.
It's a party.
Pin this. Get this up.
Let's go, babies. Gotta open up this beer. El Segundo Brewing here in California. Los Angeles, California. El Segundo, California, to be more precise.
We live. Oh, man, I'm so happy. Oh, man. Let me get the clapping emojis in the chat, man. Let me get the clapping emojis in the chat.
I got the goblet. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need some background music for my my goblet pour. Hold on.
Yo, turn off that music. Copyright.
Fair use. 5 seconds. Fair use.
Come on. We're on YouTube, buddy. They'll shut us down very quick. There we go. Let's get the comment emojis. Our biggest hater, Bruce Wayne, is in the chat. Oh, man. You ain't got nothing to say tonight, brother. I'll see you Saturday, though. This team is looking very, very good. We're going to get started in a second. Ryan.
I feel like UNC fans also, when it's kind of like what's the opposite? You know how Alien versus Predator, the tagline was whoever wins, we lose. I feel like for UNC fans, it's like a whoever loses, we win kind of deal. What it's Duke State, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
They're probably just not that mad about it.
Yeah. Considering they are in first place too, but we'll get to that. Forget about them. Let me play this intro real quick to get us started.
Trying not to score and everything with about 30 threes or something.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of felt that. We kind of feed off that energy.
This place is amazing. Like I really love Duke, and I love the atmosphere I'm in here.
Mark Williams, beast mode. Paolo first half. He had the cramping stuff, fair enough. Beast mode.
Welcome back to the Crazy Cast. Ryan said he'll be here in 5 minutes. He's currently in the Dominican Republic, but he's dedicated, so he's going to show up. Probably will have terrible connection, but oh boy. Mr. Techman Dave spelled Sean's name correctly, but yes, you are right. You also spelled Hoopin wrong.
I think if you misspell Hoopin, we'll also give you the misspell of the first name. I think spelling's just an issue across the board there.
This is going to be a Sean Stewart agenda night because we've been talking about this man the whole season, man. The whole season. You could find an episode pretty much in every episode. Even when we gave up that Shire was going to play him, he started playing him more, and we're like, we need to see more of that. Oh, man. But we'll get into it, man. Russ, what's your first thoughts on this game?
Really satisfying. This is the sort of game. Really, what crossed my mind is this is the sort of game where, if you really want to contend or claim to be contending, this is the game you have to win, and you have to win not in like a scary way. You have to show, hey, this is who we are. We'll go to a hostile place. We'll go to a place where we have lost, and we're going to win anyway, right? Like, I think that's a really, really good sign going forward. And also, I think, Zion, you pointed this out on Twitter. The score should have been more. We missed a lot of open threes in the first half. I mean, we normally shoot a lot better than that. First half, we were real tight. I felt like a little bit in terms of some of the shooting. Jeremy and Jared both missing some shots that they usually make. They obviously corrected in the second half, came back to the mean there. But yeah, if this is a game we limp through, then I think it leaves some people with questions of like, well, is this just a play to the level of the opponent team, or is this a team that's going to come through and beat the teams they're supposed to beat? We beat a team we were supposed to beat on the road. Great news. Even when we shot badly in the first half, great news. Even when we didn't have flip at all in the first half, great news. I really liked, I didn't get to tweet about this because I was just busy enjoying the game in the second half. The inability to stop DJ Burns is definitely something that was alarming for a while there, but is also very clearly something that was intentional, right? Like I forget which possession it was. He chewed out somebody for helping on the single coverage on Burns. Like basically every time somebody tried to double on Burns, John was throwing a conniption fit on the side. He wanted it to be single coverage. He wanted what was it that we talked about for the UNC game where we were so focused on stopping one guy that then other guys all started to like get their stuff going, right?
Right.
We did the opposite here. We didn't allow anyone to get stuff going except for him. He was the guy, right? He went off. Kudos to him. He did a great job. He played more minutes than I thought he was going to, given how much they were giving him the ball and how much he was having to hoof it up and down the court. But it worked. I mean, and you could tell he was bushed by the end. The rest of the team couldn't get anything going. And once our shot became our shot again in the second half, the game felt very in hand for the last, 12 plus minutes, even when this was only 6-8 point difference. It just never felt like one of those games. We protected the ball well. I thought we moved the ball well. We got good shots even when they weren't falling. We obviously got bench production, which we're going to talk about. Even without Caleb Foster, we still got really good bench production. The guard play, which we've talked about in the last few shows, is very important in March. The guard play really coming through today, how strong the guard play is on this team. I mean, I just don't think I have any complaints at all. Just a really well-rounded performance. And the only black mark on like the entire performance is DJ Burns' stat line, but it was an intentional game plan. So so even that, I'm going to shrug my shoulders and say, cool, he got 30 or whatever he got. They also lost by like 20 or whatever it was. So
yeah.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, well, someone pointed it out. Proctor did play 40 minutes. Did not even realize that.
He was terrific tonight.
Yeah, he was great. More shooting may not even show it. I think Proctor. A lot of those shots too was kind of him trying to save the possession.
Down the stretch there, yeah, for sure. In the first half, though, he was like the only guy who was making his shots. He carried. He must have had 11, 13 points in the first half, something like this. He carried the offensive load in some ways in the first half.
Yeah, I mean it was, man. First off, I guess I'll start chronologically. The beginning of the game, man, Duke fans got to relax. Chronologically.
There we go.
You
stumbled over it a little bit. I was like, who's been drinking more here, me or you? What's happening?
Man, I'm not drinking. Duke fans got to relax in the first 2 minutes of a game because I saw so many tweets in my mentions of just like when we're down 9-0, it was the end of the world, and the panic was settling. I was like, you gotta let the game settle in. There was nothing that gave me the feeling that Duke was gonna get blown out or Duke was gonna get run off the court tonight. Once Duke settled in.
In some of their defense, they shouldn't be panicking, but it's definitely like been something that we've seen throughout the year where we've had some games where because a team jumped on us early, that then even though the rest of the game was even, it was just hard to make up that difference. So I wasn't panicked, but I think I tweeted something along the lines of like, yeah, sure, in PNC Arena, we're going to come in and be down 9-0.
I get that if it's like past the 4-minute, 5-minute stretch, but it was only 2 minutes in. I was like, once we hit a shot, I think we're gonna be fine. But I just think first off, I gotta get more clapping emojis. First off, for TJ Power, we'll get to Sean. Shout out to TJ Power because those minutes he gave us early. Oh, Ryan's here. I'm gonna get you in, Ryan. Those minutes he gave us early were crucial. even him hitting that three. I think, it's at a point I tweeted before the game, not before the game, but like during the game. I think it's at a point now where you have to play TJ Power. You have to play TJ Power. You have to play Sean Stewart, obviously now. But the depth we have going into March right now is kind of crucial, especially because we don't know when Caleb Foster is coming back. But it was really good to see those guys contribute early. Ryan Young too. Shout out to Ryan Young because all the extra possessions he created. Even sometimes he was probably, I would say he was our best defender against Burns. I still say that was Stewart for most because, he was guarding him the whole game. But he did make some plays on Burns as well.
Young was the sturdiest. Stewart just had some nice turnovers that he forced. But right. Young just has that burliness, right? Like he's used to that. That's the kind of style he likes to play.
Right. And going to that halftime comment by Jay Billis, kind of alluded to one of my tweets that you mentioned, Russ, that I felt like, Duke should have been up by double digits. There was no way NC State was in a great shape at halftime, given all the circumstances we had of flipping foul trouble. McCain couldn't hit a shot. Mark Mitchell wasn't contributing. Our offense in general was shooting 12 or 36. Duke was going to start hitting shots. And once Duke started hitting shots, it was going to be a wrap. And that's kind of what we saw in the second half. Burns, got his. But like Russ said, I think that was the game plan. I was more so concerned that Burns we weren't making him guard. This man was literally standing in the paint.
Yeah. In the first half in particular, that was a problem, I thought.
Like he would use his entire energy on offense, jog back on defense, stand in the paint, just catch his breath. We weren't challenging him, but we started hitting shots, and eventually Burns can't win the game by himself. So really encouraging. I think this team is peaking, clicking at the right time. Let me get Ryan in here. Let me get your thoughts, man. Mr. Ryan from Dominican Republic.
Where's the daiquiri? Where's the daiquiri?
No daiquiri. We just came back from the bar, and we got Presidente Light right now. So just drinking the lightest beer you can get. Yeah, sorry, Russ. Disappointing. I know. It's just what we got right now. Can you guys hear me fine?
Yeah, you good, man.
Good, man. What a game. I wasn't able to watch it with sound on. We had some Dominican music in the background going nuts, but nice. Just going to first off give my flowers to Sean Stewart. What a game. Want to see more of that. With Foster out, it seems like it's going to be a long term as far as going into the ACC tournament and into the big tournament. I'm loving this lineup a little bit, or these rotations at least. Obviously, this game was more in Ryan Young's favor. I think we all called it out early, which is fine. But just seeing this rotation and Sean putting up the numbers that he did tonight offensively even, and then Power just making an impact on both ends, which isn't really his forte, more of an offensive guy, but it seemed like he was making plays on the defensive end as well. So I'm happy with where we're at. I'm not saying this nothing against Foster at all, but this is very nice to see winning at PNC Arena in March. I don't know when the last time that happened. So I'm very happy with it. And just the way Shire kind of adjusted at halftime to me was also a good sign. Duke didn't shoot well in the first half. It was like 31% or 33%, something like that. Obviously, shots weren't falling. In the second half, guys got it going. There seemed to be more of a flow on offense and more of a game plan that was stuck to. Maybe it was just shots falling, but it just seemed like there was more, coordination on the offensive end. So happy to see it. NC State's not a great team, but winning there has never been easy for Duke teams. So great to see. No look ahead as far as UNC coming to town on this weekend. And this team's maturing, man, and it's fun to watch. And it was fun to see. And everybody kind of got theirs besides Flip, and that's a different story. But everyone kind of got theirs tonight, and it was fun to watch.
Our last win at PNC was 2021, the Matt Hurt, Jalen Johnson season.
But that was with nobody in attendance, right? I think they said it was like 25 people were in attendance that game.
I guess that might be true.
That's a fake win.
Yeah, well, they said on the thing that they won the last 3 times against us when we were ranked, but I knew we were 3-1 our last 4. I was like, well, that's gotta be that COVID year, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get into the Sean Stewart stuff and everything else, that like I do think it's worth just like mentioning the core five, the guys who we thought coming into the season would be the starters, who we thought we would rely on to carry in games like this. You know, I think it was CBB Analytics who tweeted either this morning or yesterday that it's one of the best power conference starting fives, you know, during the course of conference play. One of like the top 5 most efficient lineups in the country, in high major country, I guess I should say. So I really don't want to sleep on. We're going to focus on how awesome it is to have some bench stuff and what that means going forward. But you know, Mark Mitchell, I know he didn't like have a ton today, I don't think, but he had some nice boards. He definitely just keeps fighting and he plays strong defense. McCain found his shot in the second half, some really nice shooting. Jeremy Roach, I mean, again, dude, I know he's probably not going to make first team All-ACC. He better be safely second team, like one of the top second team dudes. Like
Russ, let me ask you this: if you had a vote, would you put Flip or Roach first team? Both of you, actually. Sorry, Zion, you too. Like, who would you put first and who would you put second? Realistically,
I mean, I think that Flip has been it depends on whether you want production versus efficiency, right? Like it really does. I think that Flip is, I think, someone who Duke just even in games where he has not been good, he is productive and incredibly important for the team. Roach is also very important, but we do have guards in a way that, you know, I know we can get away in a game like against NC State with not playing Flip for, you know, a healthy stretch of a half, but we can't get away with not having Flip on the court, man. And I don't think the ACC first team is ever going to go like the second leading scorer over the first leading scorer. I'd probably still go Flip, but I think that Jeremy has done things that have really boggled the mind this year in terms of efficiency.
Did they do that was it Vernon our leading scorer versus Trey?
Yeah, but Vernon
that was the vote.
Vernon got more All-ACC first team votes than Trey did.
Okay.
It's just that Trey was the only one submitted for Player of the Year.
Yeah, we had to submit
it for Player of the Year. Vernon would have won Player of the Year. Like
he might have not, because they would have split votes.
Well, no, I'm saying if they had submitted him instead of Trey.
Oh yeah, instead of Trey. Yeah.
I think Vernon was I think he was the leading guy in terms of All-ACC votes that year, if I recall correctly. I might be wrong on that, but I think I'm right.
But yeah, I need people to vote in the comments too. Who you think first team? Because I'll say because I said last game. Yeah,
the comments are going to say Roach.
I said before last game where Flip had a big game, I said I'm voting Jeremy Roach first. Flip has a big game. Jeremy was okay last game, wasn't his best. And I was like, okay, maybe Flip saved himself. Tonight, Jeremy Roach played better than Flip. Flip was in foul trouble. I mean, maybe he padded his stats a little bit at the end. I'm looking at his numbers.
He shot 17 times tonight, which I'll take it. I'll take Roach shooting 17 times.
He was efficient.
Yeah,
53% for the field. He just didn't shoot the three well, but he did everything else pretty much well.
I just want them both to be first team. I mean, like I realize that it's going to be maybe like Omier, even though his team sucks. Hinson is going to have a shot in there. Obviously, Billis was talking about Baycott because he's averaging a double-double, but I think that like goes back to, you know, the whole thing. Generally speaking, the counting stats, if you are one of the best teams and your counting stats are the highest or very, very high on your team, you're going to get there. Like if Duke ends up tying for the ACC regular season title and Flip is the leading scorer and leading rebounder, he should be on the first team.
Or let me ask you this. If Duke goes in, wins on Saturday, Roach puts up, not even double-double, just puts up 20-plus points, is it him and Flip over Baycott? Because one of Roach and Flip is going to get it. RJ Davis is already in. Do you put 2 from Duke in, or do you put 2 from UNC in at that point?
I mean, if it came down to that, they'll probably just do like Hinson or something. I think
it'll end up with Baycott and Roach on the second team at that point.
That's so ugly, though. That's so ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are Tar Heel fans in here, but I know Tar Heel fans, diehard Tar Heel fans, who aren't the fondest of Baycott's numbers. You know, they're not like, you know,
Sure.
it's not.
Can't blame him, though. Can't blame him.
It's I mean,
He's
luckily
also
RJ.
had him and Flip have had comparable seasons in some respects where there are some games where Baycott has just had like 6 points on like 7 attempts or whatever, you know, like there have been some games for both of them, but the productivity over a large sample, I mean, is just, I understand why people are really attracted to it. It's hard to deny. It's really hard to be productive over a large sample. Like it's just so hard.
It's hard, but when it's tough, as Filipowski did it last year pretty consistently, and this year was kind of the expectation that you just do it again. And I mean, we love Flip, great player and everything, but it's hard to replicate that year after year, especially when this year now you are the guy as far as low post presence and the big man on Duke. So it's hard to do that year after year. I don't mean to go back to it. Did Proctor actually play all 40 minutes tonight? I didn't even notice that during the game.
He did.
That's crazy. I mean, coming off of the stuff we've heard about as far as just health wise and Proctor coming back, that's not, I don't want to say crazy. That's just great for him. If that shows a sign of where he's at health wise, that's awesome for this team. And loved the game from him tonight. But 40 minutes that's awesum. It's crazy.
Even switched onto Burns a couple times there. And
he did.
At least once he poked the ball out a little bit. It was pretty. He's a crafty dude, man. I mean, I'm still such a huge fan. It's going to be an interesting couple of months for him, I think. But like, he's just got a lot of game. He's really got a lot of game. But anyway, that's the starters. They needed their flowers because, man, every starter contributed something tonight that was really big. So, I mean, Mark Mitchell with the 6 boards, 4 of them offensive. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Although
you guys talked about rebounding yet?
You said what? Go ahead.
Have you guys talked about the offensive rebounding yet? Because that was insane tonight.
Yeah, a little, like just in the sense of it kept us in the game. And we talked about Ryan Young and how well Ryan Young played tonight. We were sort of saving the Stewart and Power conversation for, after everything else. But yeah.
Yeah. So that lineup, I think it was Proctor. I don't know who the other guard was at the time because it's hard to see in that TV, but Power, Young, Stewart. And that lineup went through a timeout and came back out as that lineup. Kind of fun to see, right? Like we're in March and that's the lineup we're playing for an extended period of time. Kind of promising going into March to an extent. And the fact that they didn't just like botch everything and there was some offensive efficiency there. It wasn't great. It's not like we pulled away by 10 at the time, but the fact that Shire trusted that group to me was interesting and intriguing to say the least.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Look, I want to caveat like anything that we say going forward with like NC State's not good. Okay. like I know that like there's going to be people if we get like too excited about it, that people are going to be like, they're not that good. It's playing there is hard. But Kevin Keats in a game where he is ostensibly coaching for his job potentially, and his team just like, and he has not much game plan other than some perfunctory press and give the ball to PJ Burns on every single possession. There's not anything else in the bag. The bag is empty beyond that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I want to caveat it a little bit with that, but
sure.
But even beyond that, the confidence with which they're playing, the competency, and again, we were playing teams and blowing them out and not seeing them touch the floor earlier this year. And so to see them in a game that really does matter, even though it's not a good team, it was a game that mattered a lot. So that on that front, it's very, very promising. And I have some bigger stuff to say later about them, but I'll pass the ball to Zion.
Yeah, I mean, just I don't mean to like NC State is maybe not a good team, but I mean it's still playing NC State on the road, so like I'm still gonna factor, it's a tough game. It's gonna be a tough game regardless.
Not a tough team, but a tough game.
I mean, NC State gave UNC hell the other day, so at least for a stretch.
For 20 minutes, and it was tied after 2 minutes in the second half.
A stretch. But yeah, I was impressed by their bench as a whole. Before we get into Sean Stewart, I was impressed by the bench as a whole, and I think, like I tweeted, it's going to, if we get Caleb Foster back. If I'm not giving any. There's no sources here. If we get Caleb Foster back, it gets really scary because now you can trust Sean Stewart. The confidence Sean Stewart is going to have after this is gonna bode well for us now this year, sophomore year. If there's a junior year, TJ Power. I mean, TJ Power. The numbers. What shot 1 of 5 tonight? He shot that air ball mid range. I thought that was just a rush shot, but most of the times, I think the ball's going in.
It looks good.
Well, the two of them that he missed were in the basket and completely came out.
In and out.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like it was a complete shot in rhythm. One of them was rushed and he was defended pretty well. I still thought it was going in, but I think the confidence they both get from this game is huge for us. Ryan, he's been stable, man. You know, as much grief as we given him the past one and a half years, he's been stable most of this season. Like, you can't really say anything about him.
But I still think he's matchup dependent, though. Like, I'll say that he's matchup dependent tonight against a team that couldn't do much athletically. Like, it's a great spot for him tonight. Absolutely,
for sure. But I thought that's also on Shire to use him in the right spot. You know, not throwing him out for 30 minutes.
We also said, that he's a perfect 10 to 12 minute a game guy. Right. Yeah. That's his ideal role. If you look at his last, 6 games, 14 minutes, 10 minutes, 11 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 13 minutes. I mean, he's playing the exact role that we sort of felt that he would. And maybe he plays less if Flip is not in foul trouble tonight, potentially. But yeah, he just fights. He's a good tone setter. I think we've talked at times that it's sometimes unclear who exactly the tone setter is on the team. But when Ryan Young is wood burning the shit out of his knees, diving 70 feet away from the rim for a loose ball, that sets a tone. That tells the rest of the team, hey, this is what we're doing. And Sean Stewart diving for stuff, exact same thing.
Came up with a bloody nose. Well, can we dive into Sean Stewart? We gotta have a separate segment for Sean Stewart, man, because it was a coming out party tonight. I kind of likened it to let me put him on the screen, man. Put him on the screen, man. I kind of likened it. I know it's not, the same points that Grayson had against, was it Wake Forest? I forgot that game. He had 28.
It was that game at Cameron. Yeah, it was Wake or Georgia.
He had a monster. Yeah, it's not the same thing, but it's what we need.
Exactly. It's in terms of the impact. Obviously, Sean defensively probably way more than Grayson as well. But it's just the fact that a freshman player can kind of will us to win, because I mean, especially early in that game, I think he gave us energy. And obviously we had our guards step up in the second half, but Sean was big throughout the game. The blocks, the diving on the floor, a lot of the let me take this off the screen. A lot of even the post ups. A lot of even the post ups with DJ Burns. He won't get credit for it, but there was a lot he actually denied him from post entry. If you saw it too, DJ Burns was catching the ball at the 3-point line. He wasn't deep. I mean, he's big enough to back you down for 5 seconds and get to the rim. But Sean made it hard on him to get the ball where he wanted to get the ball, denied the post, fronted the post. I thought the performance tonight, man, I'm so proud. I'm not gonna say I'm a proud dad, because that's weird. But I'm so proud because I feel like he had this in him the whole season, And obviously he needed to, work into it, but it's big for us going into March.
Yeah, and a lot of people as far as energy and impact goes, it's hard to put on paper with analytics and stuff. And Russ, this is not a shot at you, the analytic guy in the podcast, but just seeing his immediate impact when he was out there, whether it was diving for loose balls, guarding wherever he needed to be. It seemed like every big play that we had came from a Sean Stewart effort play. And it's something that this team, any team, needs in March coming tournament run. And the fact that he's able to get that now, show what he's capable of, was super exciting to watch tonight. That's the thing. Sean Stewart we came to this year, we weren't expecting much offensively. Tonight he gave us, I think it was 12, 14 points, whatever it was. That's just a bonus to what you get with Sean Stewart. You're looking for the defensive effort, offensively, crashing the boards. Obviously the vertical is there. It's great to watch. And then you get to see him get rewarded with his career high in points tonight. So if you need anything to bank on coming to March, and John Shire was worried about going to March with a bench the way he was playing it, Sean just absolutely crushed that, and it's going to be fun. I hope, and I would assume he continues to get minutes. Whether or not we see that on Saturday with UNC will be interesting, but he absolutely played his way into this rotation in a heavy set tonight. So this is, Sean Stewart, flowers to him, put in the work all year. Apparently he's been busting his ass in practice. We've seen it in games throughout the year, just not getting the minutes. So happy to see it.
Yeah. I want to talk about his minute allocation, a little bit. So he has gotten, I just wrote it down. Let me pull it up. So he's played 230 minutes so far this season. Okay.
Can you compare that to somebody else on the team real quick or no?
I'll compare it to Grayson Allen 2015.
Okay.
Where at this point in the season, before the final UNC game, he had played 208 minutes.
There you go.
Right. Sean Stewart has played more than Grayson Allen did in 2015 up to this point in the season. And just so you know, it wasn't like it just built and then Grayson Allen played the rest of the year. People forget in that second round, Sweet 16 Elite 8, Grayson didn't play. He barely played.
Yeah.
He played by necessity. They busted him out in that Michigan State game because we got a lead. We wanted to milk it, and then he was playing well, right? So then Kay left him out there. You know what I mean? So yes, he did have that blow up against Wake, but then he played 11 minutes in the UNC game. In the ACC tournament, he barely played in the loss to Notre Dame. So these are just things that happen to freshmen. I would really, really hope. I know it's also a different world with NIL and the transfer portal and everything else than then, right? I really think that Sean Stewart, retaining Sean Stewart next year, needs to be a top priority of the staff. The talent is so obvious. The talent is so dynamic, and the size and the athleticism. And it's not just that. He's got some nice touch on some of his stuff inside. He works hard. He dives on the floor. He grabs offensive rebounds, the blocks. He had that one play where the guy got past him, right, defensively, blew past him, right? And he still recovered for the block, right?
Yeah.
People can't do that. Those dudes just can't do that. Mark Mitchell can't always do that, right? Sean is the most athletic player on this team, right? I think we would all agree that's kind of a no-brainer. Next year, he's still going to be one of the most athletic players on the floor. If you've got Cooper Flagg and Sean Stewart together,
which they have done before. They've done it before.
Flagg's, first of all, they played together before. Cooper Flagg's shot blocking for a kid his age is generationally good. And Sean Stewart has shown when you give him some opportunities, he has terrific timing. He's got great athleticism. He knows exactly what to do. Just the potential of the two of them together is so mouthwatering. I don't see why this wouldn't be something where, look, last year in the offseason, I'm sure there were conversations that John had to have with players to maybe not convince them to come back, but to make the sales pitch, right? To go and
for the record, Russ, every coach is having to have those conversations these days.
Correct. I'm not saying I'm just saying that generally speaking, look, we don't have to be naive here. He's a guy who didn't play a lot for stretches this season, and he is a very, very mega talented freshman. I don't know for a fact, but I feel very confident that teams are going to try texting him. They're going to, right? They're going to try to text everybody, right? But especially guys who are mega, mega talented who didn't play in a game here or a game there, they're going to be like, notice you didn't play. Right? Like they're gonna do that. That's what they're doing everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So God, man, John and the team have got to go to Sean and go to the family and be like, dude, you are a building, like you are a cornerstone going forward. Like you are a guy who, whether it's just one more year, whether it's 2 years, whatever it is going forward, he is a tone setter. He's an effort giver. He's a major league athlete at a position where you need that in today's game desperately. And God, I don't want any player. I don't want to assume that any player is coming back, basically, right? Like I want the players who we want back to go to them and go, you are our priority. You are our cornerstones. You are our building blocks. You are the foundation upon which this program is going to be built going forward. And so I hope Sean Stewart and his family and his friends and whoever else know that, because goddamn, he is so important for like what we can be next year. And also the same goes the other direction. What schools are going to have the guards that can give him the ball on those lobs like the guards that we're going to have? Like what schools are going to be able to create space for Sean to do the things that he does so brilliantly, right? Like it's just such a perfect marriage. I really want that to work out.
I will even say too, I think next year we're going to have to, I hope, but I actually think it's guaranteed we're going to be a running team. Like when you have Cooper Flag, you have to run. Like you have to run. You don't have a choice. So you need bigs that can run the floor too. So, there will be a situation, if it is Sean, and Flag in the front court, that's a running, that's the most athletic front court in the country. That's more athletic than some NBA front courts.
Easily.
Respectfully. So
no matter what happens with Malawach, right? Like no matter what happens with him, if we've got Flag and Stewart, and then we're going to have some sort of big, whether that works out or not, right? Like the potential is so high in that front court. And obviously the guards and wings that we're going to have next year, it's going to be terrific, Yeah.
But man, forget next year. This year. What are y'all thoughts? Number one, going into Carolina, and number two, how far this team can go.
Yeah, I think for me, like after tonight, watching them lock up, Horn only how many points did Horn have tonight?
Let me see.
Only 6, a couple,
single digits. Like, I mean,
points.
Going into a game like UNC, he had 8. RJ Davis is obviously a better player. I get that, but like guard defense going into this game is going to be huge. Like you have to slow down RJ Davis. Obviously, Harrison Ingram went off last game. I don't think it's going to happen in Cameron, but the backcourt defense against a decent backcourt line in NC State, being shorthanded too on the Duke side, like that's promising to me. Guard play wins in March. We only have 3 now that we're playing. We're going 3 deep instead of 4. It's a luxury, obviously. How they defend UNC this Saturday will be very interesting. How Shire goes about the game plan throughout the game and any adjustments that need to be made will be very interesting, because the first game, it just didn't seem like there was any adjustments made at all. Ingram obviously rained on us. We went to a zone for some capacity, which didn't make much sense. And then obviously Davis played okay. So it's just, I'm very curious as to what this team's going to do on Saturday. I'm not going to take Saturday's game as like, man, if we win this, we're winning the championship, or if we lose this, like it's all over. It's just, it'll be interesting to see the adjustments that the staff makes with what we're seeing in the last 2 to 3 weeks of play with this team, and what UNC offers as far as matchups go.
Yeah, I will say I think right now we're a completely different team than that team that played in Chapel Hill.
So Zion, let me just, for the fans' standpoint, let me just ask, like, what do you think makes us different than we were then?
Well, number one, the offense. The offense, I think we're moving the ball way more than we did at UNC. I think just we're establishing roles better. I mean, we even saw tonight, with Sean. But I think even with Tyrese, I think we've kind of seen not that it's. I don't want to say that they're taking Caleb and Tyrese are taking away from each other, but we've kind of seen when one is out and the other is in.
Yeah.
It's more of established roles.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen it with Tyrese. You know, I think when Caleb has been the point guard and Tyrese has been out, we've seen it. I'm not to say that, you know, it's better to have one of them out. I still think we want both of them healthy, but I just think we've established roles for the most part. And you know, it's more than just. I think last performance we saw Jared. I think we've seen Marcus take a step, even though he didn't play as well tonight. I think we've seen Jeremy obviously has been constant throughout the day, constant throughout the season. I just think we're a more established team, we're a more cohesive team, and defensively, I don't think anybody's really been talking about Duke defensively. Defensively, we've been really good of late. And I think that'll be a different. I don't know, Russ, if you got the numbers on it, but I think that'll be different as well, for sure. But yeah, I think besides obviously the Wake Forest game, because that'll be a bad outlier. That was a bad outlier, but for the most part, we've been good defensively.
Yeah, I mean, since the UNC game, we are top 3 on Bar Torvik in that span. 11th in offense, 10th in defense.
Not bad.
You know, some of it has definitely been we've had some fortunate like 3-point luck in the same way that in terms of defense, in the same way that UNC, when they went on that like super hot stretch, like teams just couldn't make threes against them for whatever reason. They were playing like generationally good. We have had some teams in our run there that had some open looks that just missed them, but that happens, you know, everywhere. I don't know. Look, Caleb Foster played 19 minutes against UNC last time. Sean Stewart barely played, right? He played 2 minutes. Foster played 19. I mean, Sean Stewart's a much better defender than Caleb Foster. I mean, and in particular, the fact that Ingram and Bacot were the ones that absolutely scorched us to the tune of, 46 points on 13 of 16 shooting and getting a combined 23 rebounds last time. With Sean Stewart playing a larger portion of minutes than Caleb Foster, that should hopefully change, I would think. It certainly seems like it would skew that general direction. Proctor's been a lot better also. He obviously was not good in the game against UNC other than his defensive effort against Davis. But, at the end of the day, I think we played not awfully against UNC, all things considered. Didn't shoot the 3 well, shot 2 incredibly well. Rebounding, we actually only lost the rebounding battle by 1. Turnovers was a big problem in that game. You can't turn the ball over against UNC or they'll massacre you. And UNC is only 301st in the country in defensive turnover rate in terms of forcing teams to turn the ball over. A lot of it was us coughing the ball up and UNC just playing a little harder than us and fighting more than us and us looking more complacent and them looking hungrier, right? Like, I know that's like such bullshit, basketball speak, but it also is true, right? Like they know who their leader is. And I think at the time when we played that game, it was hard to tell exactly, what tone we were trying to set as a team.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I do think it's a different team, and obviously playing at home versus playing at UNC.
That's the big one.
That's very, very different, regardless of what you think about which team is better. I think both teams, on a neutral court, it's probably a pick 'em game. Like, you know what I mean? I genuinely think if we were playing neutral court, the Vegas line would be a pick. Maybe half a point either direction. So playing at Duke is really big. And, Duke has a little more at stake than UNC in this game. We've got the revenge factor, which is a given. And then we've also got the fact that, if we don't win this game, we do not win the ACC regular season title or even a share of it. And UNC has it locked down. They have a share of it. That's done.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a motivating factor there. Obviously, the UNC fans in the chat will say, well, the motivation is to prevent Duke from getting the thing. But generally speaking, motivation is always stronger when it's accomplishing something for yourself versus trying to prevent another team from doing it. Exhibit A tonight with NC State,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like Duke's odds in this game. They can't turn the ball over, and they need to play Sean Stewart more. I think Sean Stewart would help with the Harrison Ingram and Armando Bacot of it all. I think that would be a really nice adjustment, frankly.
I think tonight was the kind of the dummy test run to put Sean Stewart on Bacot on Saturday, at least for extended period of time.
Yeah.
And maybe have Flip and Mitchell, whoever is in at the time, obviously on Ingram. Because Flip is not, obviously he is a big man, but he's usually moves his feet pretty well for a big man. So I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if I saw him on Ingram for an extended amount of time.
I also just think that it's hard to take much away from this game versus UNC because they're so much better. UNC is just so much better. Like NC State's game plan is give the ball to a big man and play inside out. Like that's just like such some like backward ass, like nobody plays that way anymore kind of shit. You know what I mean?
They didn't have a choice either, though.
But UNC has like almost been the opposite this year, right? Where people have been like, Bacot's only shot the ball 8 times today. Well, yeah, it's because they're whipping the ball around the outside. They're trying to get Davis going and Ingram going, and Cadeau's moving the ball, and Ryan can shoot the ball. And the bench minutes, I do think that if we play more bench, that will help because UNC doesn't play the bench very much. Right. Even again this year, I know that like it looked like they were going to play the bench more with Withers and Trimble and Washington. They're 337th in the country in bench minutes. That's not a lot. Duke doesn't have like a ton more than that, but also recently some of that has shifted a little bit.
It'll be interesting to see how we guard Ingram.
The one last point that I just confirmed on Twitter that I want to point out, Duke has covered the spread 8 of 9 games. Like since the UNC loss, we've covered 8 of the last 9 games. So I think even if you want to say we've played a lot of easy teams, that's true. We have not played a lot of tournament caliber teams. That's definitely true. The 3 that you could argue that we have played might not even make the tournament. They're going to be very close. So the schedule is a thing, but we've also been overperforming against that schedule, which I do think matters in terms of confidence and showing what we can be going forward. So, yeah, I like the chances, man. Just don't cough the ball up against a team that doesn't try to force turnovers, and I think we'll be okay.
But I will say, I think because of last game especially times we focused on doubling Bacot a lot. I do think this was at least a sign that Shy is not going to double in the post anymore. If you want to try to beat us with 2s, go ahead. And Bacot, although I think he's obviously a better player than Burns, I don't know if he's as efficient around the rim against us than DJ Burns would be. So you will take your lumps inside if your UNC is trying to win the game through Armando Bacot.
I think Bacot's more efficient than Burns against us or against anybody once they give him the ball if they can get it to him that low. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, in terms of the numbers would suggest that he is. But well, sure. If we could wheel out Derek Lively on Saturday, that would be great. I think I think that you're right though that trying to single cover him, it might be ugly at times. It might still be ugly. Look, there's also a good chance that in the same way that we encountered some foul trouble at UNC. Since we're playing at Duke, they might encounter some foul trouble. That kind of shit tends to happen. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of does. I'd love to see us try to make Bacot move. Bacot's also way more mobile than Burns. That goes without saying. But like make him work. Make the other team defend more. I think one of the things that we really sucked at against UNC was they turned us into an ISO team. And to be fair, that is what they do on the season. They're a top 10 team in the country in preventing the other team from getting assists. That's clearly a game plan. They want you to play ISO ball against them. We went away from it really quickly in the last game, and I don't want to see that happen again. Even though we were good on offense, it was
a good stat that Connor O'Neill tweeted today. I think Russ, you quoted it as well about the assist ratio that Duke has as far as when they're successful and they're not. When you're going up against a team like UNC, that has to be part of the game plan, right? Like combating that at all costs is getting assists, moving the ball as much as possible. And then defensively, like I'm interested to see if Shire changes up the game plan against Ingram. I don't think Ingram is a huge threat in back-to-back games, but the fact that he torched you in the first game, like, do you not switch when Mitchell's on him? Do you put Stewart on him in some capacity? Like, how do we defend that? I don't want to say that game was a fluke, but it wasn't like something that I don't think they're completely worried about happening again in Cameron, but it's something you have to look out for, I think.
He's been really good this year. I mean, he's shooting almost 40% from three. I definitely think he could do that again. I think he's highly motivated. I don't know what they do about that. I do think that's an interesting wrinkle. But yeah, 8 assists on 35 made field goals last game for Duke. 11 turnovers, 8 assists. I mean, and also, I mean, like, look, I'm not saying that there was like shenanigans or anything, because we just lost the game fair and square. But also, we committed 18 fouls to UNC's 12 committed fouls. UNC got 25 free throw attempts to our 11 free throw attempts. Like, even if that changes just a little bit, like I'm not even saying that's not what might happen on Saturday. I don't think it'll happen Saturday. That could happen Saturday, right? Like, I think Duke can sometimes settle for jump shots and not get to the line. I think that's reasonable. But even if it changes a little, where the margin is not 14 on the free throw attempts, the margin is 8. And instead of the foul margin being -6, it's closer to even. I mean, that's still just a seismic shift in a game that was still a double-digit game last time, all things considered. And they got 19 assists to their 33 buckets. Like, they moved the ball beautifully, and we did not put up much resistance against that.
I still feel like a lot of last game. I said it last time. I feel like we played out of character too. It wasn't, I did credit to UNC. They played better than us. I did think a lot of our wounds were self-inflicted. So, hopefully this time around we get rid of the self-inflicted errors and play our best basketball. Because I think if we play our best basketball, that is a win in Cameron.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
Yeah, the one person in the comments said that we don't attack as much as UNC. Yeah, I mean that's true. We don't, but also our free throw rate in conference play, it has not been great, but it's only like 4%. Or no, wait, free throw rate less than 4%. It's been 3.5% less than UNC's. So I mean, it's not like a seismic difference. It's not like we do nothing but jump shoot and UNC does nothing but hit the glass and hit the rim. Again, like UNC, we talked about it on the podcast that we did before. UNC's free throw rate away from home and at home, big difference. Duke's is big too. UNC's is larger. Again, I'm not saying that Duke doesn't have an advantage at home. They do. That's in fact exactly my point. I think that home teams do have advantages on free throw rate, generally speaking. And so if UNC is is a little more reliant on free throw rate than Duke is generally, and still might take more free throws, if that shifts at all because we're not playing at UNC, we're playing at Duke instead, that makes a big difference.
For sure. What do y'all
I think we lost Ryan.
Oh, we lost Ryan? Oh, Dominican Republic.
The island called. He answered.
All these shout out to all these UMC fans
They're sticking around.
Man, yeah, I've never seen it. In fact, someone called it out earlier in the show. Bruce Wayne, we have not seen any Bruce Wayne comments since the beginning of the show.
I think he was too happy that he admitted early that he was stoked that Kevin Keats lost. He didn't like Kevin Keats.
Oh man. Okay.
Kevin Keats is on that he's on that train out of town, I would think.
Well, Bruce Wayne, I guess, celebrating our victories. So
right.
Nah.
Nah.
I was just bored on the school night. Why did I read school night?
Zion's going back to his day, man.
Bro, I'm going to work. They mandated work from the office every day now. Every day feels like a school night for me.
Zion, you said you asked a second question that we didn't really answer. What does it mean about what we think about the tournament going forward? I mean, look, we got to defend the perimeter. That's the number one thing. If I'm an opposing team in like the first round or the second round, those corners have been open all year. I mean, even when we've been defending well, the corners have been open. And so some of those teams, if we encounter, some first round team that, shoots, 44% from three or some malarkey, and that's how they won their mid-major, we just can't loaf. We can't play to their level. We've got to dominate them and bully them and whatever. We said earlier in the year that, this was a team that, if they self-inflict some of their wounds, they could leave first weekend. If they don't self-inflict any wounds, they can go far. I still kind of feel that way. I'm far more heartened that we've covered 8 of the last 9. It makes me feel like we are less likely to self-inflict wounds against inferior opponents. And then it just depends on matchups, once you get to Sweet 16 or whatever. I do also think that
you're dancing too much, bro. You got to tell us, how far do you think we're going?
It depends on the matchup. Are you shitting me? Depends on the seed.
Dancing around, bro. There's too much dancing. Come on.
That's a visual gag for the people watching.
I mean, I think this team can beat any team in the country if like Russ says, the self-inflicted wounds are non-existent. This team has the talent to do it. They really do. And when they're playing their best basketball, this team can do it. I think where obviously this is recency bias here, but with Sean Stewart playing on the defensive end, take away his offensive side tonight. That was great. That's a game we'll take from him. But like just defensively and effort wise, like I think this team can go toe to toe with most teams in the country. It's just they have to play their game, and I think a big key is the way Proctor plays. Proctor is a huge key to the way this team plays offensively, defensively, guarding their best perimeter player, and then running the offense the way he does. Like I'm not putting this all on Proctor, but like if Proctor has a really good March, this team has a chance, man. And they'll be in every single game, regardless of what part of the tournament it's in. It's just going to be interesting to see how the matchups play out in the tournament, which is kind of just how it always is. A lot of, I don't mean to call them casuals because I feel like sometimes a part of that group, but like casual fans don't get that March Madness is a tournament of matchups, right? Like if you get good matchups throughout the tournament, you have a great chance of making it to the Final Four. If you don't, you have a great chance of losing the first weekend. It is what it is. And so if Duke can play to their level, get some decent matchups, they have a chance to make it to this Final Four and maybe wreak some havoc. You never know.
You're not a casual, Ryan.
I mean, I can fall into that category for sure. I'll admit it. I don't care.
Is Zion going to answer the question?
Yeah, Zion, what do you think?
I asked the question. I don't have to answer the question.
Here's a question. What type of team do you think is the sort of team that Duke might struggle against? Not a specific team, but the sort of
I'll say this. If we're the 2 seed, I don't want to see Houston as our 1 seed.
Well, do you want to see UConn as a 1 seed?
Okay, sorry. Oh yeah, UConn. Okay.
The problem is because Yeah, the problem is we're not going to the one seed that we would want is a rematch against Arizona, and we're not going to get it. Like
like UConn. I'll take Purdue. This is going to be a bad take, but I'll take Purdue over a UConn or maybe even a Houston matchup. I don't want to go against UConn. That is a stacked team. I think our guards are good enough to handle their guards, as in Purdue. Houston,
Bro, I was at the Purdue game last year. I was there.
Yeah, you have some like in-person bias there. I think Houston is people are going to say, oh, they're a better Virginia in years past because they just play really good defense and are bad on offense. Like, no, Houston's legit. Russ, this might be the year where like your Houston pick is actually like worth something because I do think they're a great team. They're obviously defensively they have it. I'd rather see a Purdue or an Arizona over a UConn or a Houston this year as the one seed. I don't want to go up against those two teams for multiple different reasons. UConn can do it. You can always put it or player to player as far as the roster goes. I think UConn can do anything we can do. They can do as good, if not better. Houston-wise, it's defensively. I just don't want to go up against that defense. Purdue, I think we have a chance. And Arizona, I'm not worried about any of the rest of the one seeds because I think at this point it's kind of a crapshoot. But not as worried about Purdue just yet. But yeah, I Houston and UConn would be the ones that scare me.
I don't know. Houston still doesn't scare me as much.
They did
Purdue,
just lose a guy to injury for the year. Just a bench piece, but part of what makes them so hard is they run 8 deep, and just absolutely bully the hell out of you. So
I look at that as like a Tennessee last year where they just bully the shit out of you, and I don't want to deal with that again. And like,
I will say, my preseason pick, I texted it to y'all to make the Final Four, was Tennessee.
I don't want to see them either, but I don't think are they a one seed?
It's scary, bro.
No, they won't be a one seed.
They won't be a one seed though.
If they win the SEC, I think they win out this week. They have to be in over Arizona.
I agree. And I was going to bring up Tennessee too. I don't want to play them either. Obviously, for how good they are, Zion, I'll let you get back to it. But I don't want to play them again, obviously. But I don't know if they're for sure on the one line as much as the other three are that I named.
No, I think that Tennessee's got a much taller task ahead of them than Arizona does. I mean, even their last 2 games this year, they got South Carolina at South Carolina, and South Carolina's been tough. South Carolina beat Tennessee at Tennessee earlier this year, and then they got to play Kentucky, who when they're on, obviously Tennessee beat Kentucky at Kentucky earlier. I just think that task is going to be a lot taller, and Arizona should be able to just win out the rest of the year.
All right, so hold on, Russ, real quick. Zion, we were trying to get to your answer of this question that you asked, and you have how are you seeing this shake out come tournament time?
Yeah, I don't want.
No, sorry, I meant Zion. Did I say Russ? I meant Zion. Sorry,
oh, yeah.
I meant Zion asked the question. He tried to elude it. We're going back to Zion now to get.
No, Russ, go ahead, man.
Well, I was going to answer my own question because I don't duck my own questions like Zion does. I definitely don't like a bully team. I do think that because of last year and because we've seen a couple times this year, teams that just are happy to get in our chest and try to bully us physically and just punch us in the mouth. When we get punched in the mouth, it's been hard sometimes for us to fight back, whether that's youth or whether that's because outside of Mark, I don't know the sheer bulky strength of and size combo that we have. I don't know that we have a ton of that for a team like a Tennessee or a couple of other or a Houston certainly. So the bully teams worry me a little bit, and then obviously as we saw a little bit tonight, teams with a true big who is not afraid to just pound and pound and pound. I mean, Edey would just first of all, I think Purdue's guards are better than you give them credit for, even though they
are
last year. But Edey is so much better this year than he was last year when he gave us 27 and 12 or whatever it was. I mean,
hey, after tonight, just put Sean Stewart on him, baby. It's a wrap.
Yeah, sure. Yes. He's got 7 inches on Sean Stewart, but yes, correct. Yeah, so something like that, or even Klingon for UConn. I know Klingon's not like a scoring machine, but also he can do some things, and certainly defensively, he's not going to give us like easy stuff ever. Like his splits when he is on the court versus when he's off the court are absolutely ridiculous. Like we would have to beat UConn by winning by shooting a bunch of threes, which we can do. We're a very good 3-point shooting team. I think that we could definitely do that. But we're not going to get anything inside against them at all. Like there's no team is. You're only going to beat UConn by shooting threes. And then, so yeah, it's those two things. It's the true bigs who can really go off. And then obviously your teams that are like real bully ball. I think the majority of the teams who can exploit the corners against us just aren't going to have a size athleticism advantage against us. I think we'll probably do okay against most of those, even though I said earlier, I don't want to sleep against those teams. Like if we played a Hofstra again or whatever, right? I think that we can do what we did against Hofstra, but like, you know, those are the things that worry me. And the fact that we would almost certainly have to play one of the 3 teams I just named in the Elite 8, should we be so fortunate to get there. But also, should they be so fortunate to get there? It's anybody's turn.
That's my thing about the 1 seed, the 2 seed. I don't care, man. Because if we're playing them, that means we got to the Elite 8. So
I care about those, I care about the first game or two first and foremost, and then everything after that later. Yeah,
the Elite 8, it is what it is. We've had heartbreakers in the Elite 8 where we were the favorites. We were the favorites with Zion. We were the favorites with Bagley's team. We lost both of those games. So the Elite 8, if we get there, then let's play ball, man. I'm not really scared of running into a 1 seed if we get that far.
And we would not be the Vegas favorite in any of those 3 games.
No,
Facts.
definitely not.
Duke is now the underdog, though. So
Duke's never the underdog.
No,
Lenardi just we win Saturday, nothing will change. Yeah, but like, didn't Lenardi already have us as the top 3 seed in his last?
Can we not even entertain this clown? I'm
done. Not entertaining Lenardi.
I think people overreact to one guy. Anyway, like, didn't he have us as the 9th team in his like S-curve? I think that's pretty fair. Like, I don't think that's
at one point, like a week ago, he had us at 9, and then after like we won, he had us at 13. Like he's like the 90th or 100th.
Yeah, but but wait a minute. But wait a minute. I saw
Russ. What we're not gonna do, Russ. What we're not gonna do, Russ, is entertain Joe Lenardi and protect him. So don't even go there. I know you're about to go there and say justify Lenardi. No.
The other teams got better wins than us that week. That was all I was gonna say.
That's fine. We're not going after like the 99th best out of 300th bracketologists in the country. I'm not doing it just because you got the ESPN take.
It's worse than that.
Yeah, it is. It's not good. I'm done with that clown. I used to take it religiously, and now it's like bros off so hard all the time. I don't care anymore.
My buddy texted me earlier today. Shout out to my boy Dan, and he was like, "Hey, maybe we could still get a 1 seed." Nah, dude, I don't think we can. But what we could do if we beat UNC, and if we assert ourselves, and maybe get some nice fortune, I think we could get a 2 seed. I don't think it's impossible.
Oh, absolutely.
Like UNC is a 2 seed right now, realistically. If they lose to us, maybe they dip a little bit. Marquette, Tyler Kolek's out for the next 2 games. So that definitely doesn't Iowa State, it's the Big 12, like anything's possible there. I do think that one of those Big 12 teams, Iowa State, Baylor, Kansas, at least one of them is going to be a 2 seed. So it's going to be Arizona, a Big 12 team, and then like UNC, another Big 12 team, or us. Right? Like, unless you think Marquette just wins even without Kolek the rest of the way. But I think they're going to dip as a result of that. So we could definitely get a 2 seed. I think that's possible.
It's a crazy thing to say after how the ACC stretch started.
Winning 8 out of 9 games and covering 8 out of 9 games in fairly substantial manner for a few of them. That does some beautiful things, Yeah. We only after the Virginia game, we were projected preseason 9th on KenPom, and so we are as high as we've been on KenPom all year now. you know, like most of the season we were at 9 or below 9, and now we are at 7. Which again, I think feels fair. So yeah, we're
in
peaking
good
at the right
position.
time. We're playing well. We're winning games.
Yeah, we're in great position. 63% from the field in the second half. I just saw on the ESPN
Shooting
ticker.
38% from 3 on the season. That is
Talk to me nice. All the people that told me I was jinxing the team.
For a little
Stop
bit.
tweeting.
For a little bit.
Bro, no, not for a little bit, because the numbers will always regress to what the average actually is, and they're great shooting.
Oh, look at Mr. Analytics over here. Look at Mr. Analytics over
That's
here.
just simple math.
Zion says the numbers
was
will
good.
always regress. Okay, Zion, talking like Russ over here.
That's simple math, bro. High school math.
Also, our rebounding rates are both top 100 now. Our offensive rebounding rate was really bad earlier this year. It's coming around a little bit.
Oh yeah, I think because we're sending more people at the, especially the guards, to the glass. I mean, Sean Stewart, if you actually look at his rebounding rate, it's actually insane. His per 40 rebounds, I think, was 16.8 coming into the.
Russ, what did you do to Zion?
His rebounding rates, Sean Stewart's offensive rebounding rate is 21.3%. That's ridiculous.
Zion just brought up per 40
Zach Edey. Zach Edey is 18.3%. Now, granted, he's playing a lot more than Sean Stewart, but
right.
I think that just goes back to what we said earlier about how important Sean Stewart needs to be going forward for us both this year and beyond. His potential's there, man. His potential is absolutely there.
These people.
Yeah.
Zion's getting Zion quoting numbers and me like the Emperor in Star Wars going, good.
Oh man. Yeah,
Let's beat UNC, man. Let's freaking beat UNC at Cameron. Come on, man.
Let's freaking beat UNC. You're on vacation, man. You can say fucking. It's okay.
No, I'm not gonna do it. We're good.
Well, now you have to put explicit by the podcast, bro.
Oh, I guarantee I've slipped on past podcasts, man. It's fine. If somebody's still listening to this point and they get to the F-bomb, then you've earned it. Congratulations.
Yeah. So what's the code this time? If you listen this far.
Then tweet hashtag Ryan should say fucking.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Hey,
I guess it doesn't count because it's still 206 people watching right now. So
hashtag let's get it trending. Hashtag Ryan should say fucking. That's FUCKIN, no G at the end.
Oh my goodness. Get this guy out of here. Yeah, home field though. Home field.
Crazy. CRAZIE.
Time to go.
Yeah, use CRAZIE. This is the code. Y'all went crazy last month.
Yes.
So definitely we appreciate that. But yeah, it's March Madness. Get your gear. And if you're a fan of hearing another team, go to home field, use the code crazy, and you can get your gear too. We're for all the people.
Thumbs up on YouTube too. Thumbs up on YouTube.
Yeah. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your pods. You're trying to do the thumb thing.
It happened.
It doesn't work for you, buddy.
He can't
doesn't work for you, buddy. Go ahead, man.
He doesn't have the skill. I got the skills to pay the bills. There it is.
It didn't work. But yes, we should have another big sponsor coming up. Unfortunately, we didn't get to reveal it this podcast, but we will reveal it on social media. So keep an eye out for that. Big things coming. May involve getting tickets, maybe the Duke UNC, maybe the March Madness. So we'll let you guys know when that happens. I did see it work for you, but yeah, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. We'll be back probably Saturday. I'm thinking Saturday. I don't know if we're gonna do a pregame this week. Maybe not. We'll see. It's Monday, so things can change. Just follow us on Twitter. Follow the Crazy Cast. We'll keep you updated. But yeah, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. And we'll catch you. Big week. Duke is trending up. UNC next.